most important part of this cycle that is absolutely going to make or break or shake out your life, your emotions, your feelings, your ability to change your life with what's happening with the potential profitability. The fact is, most people are going to have very meager or limited results, not because this market is not meant for everybody, but because most people have a broken strategy. And I got some key signals for you. So whether you're watching this live today on April 18th, or if you're watching this in 3 weeks, I have some signals, I have some strategies in this video that you're going to want to see. So everybody, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell. Let's talk about what's going on in this market right now. Regardless of when you're watching this, I guarantee you're going to gain some knowledge from what's going on here. This is a key chart we need to pay attention to. This is from Rickus. And what we're seeing here, just pay attention to the macro position here, and then look at this RSI on the bottom, what we are watching for right now. And yes, we're getting a little pumpage today, but whether you're watching this on this moment, 7 hours from now or 7 days from now, this is going to ring true over the course of every part of the market cycle. See where this RSI is pumping up here. It feels so scary. It feels so scary that we've gotten that dip from 74 down to this $60,000, $61,000 region. But look at what we're watching here on the RSI. This is cooling off here. And when we come back over to this cycle here, or this cycle back here in 2017, 2018, or this is actually 2016 into 2017 to the top. We also see this one here, 2020 into 2021. I want you to notice that we have these large moves up and then this crash. We remember this large impulse to the upside, consolidation, and then a sell-off to the downside. And what happened there when we're looking at this, this is why I say that the price point is not something you should be paying attention to. You should be watching the data, the underlying data about what's going on so that you can make smart, informed decisions. And in this case, what we want to see happen is the price action to make some moves to the upside and yes, shake out to the downside, but we want to see the data also coming down and resetting, holding above certain key levels and giving us room to run. It's like if you're racing a car, if you're driving it full out, pedal to the metal, full throttle around the track, time and time again, at some point, that engine is going to get overheated. We want to let off the gas a little bit so you can go further for long. You want to be able to drive longer. You want to, just because you're going ultimately as fast as you can go means you might not even reach the destination. So we want to watch these moments right here where this cools off and then gives us room to launch. We come back over to this cycle right here. We had a bunch of taps, basically rejections, roughly about where this line is in that 90% zone on the RSI. And what we're seeing is, look, we got a rejection. This is very early on in this bull market. We got a rejection, still very early in this bull market. We got a rejection, still very early, about halfway through this bull market. We got another rejection, about 2/3 of the way through. And then this last portion right here, it just gets more and more explosive to the upside. So what can we take? What can we take? What can we learn from what's happening in these market cycles so we're not so bothered by these little pullbacks along the way? Because we see this is a regular occurrence on the way up, building those blocks, building that structure, building that staircase, rise, retrace, continuation, retrace, continuation, retrace, continuation, until ultimately we do reach that peak of no return. It's too many short-term holders and the market sells off and we go into a very strong bear market to the downside, cooling off for a bit. We saw the same thing here on this rise, basically retrace here. This was that we see the COVID crash right here. This fully resets. And then on this move to the upside, we have a bit of a Bart Simpson pattern there. It's hard to see with it so small, but remember, this is something that is very important. Although zoomed out, this looks very small. In the scheme of things, let's actually go over to that point on the chart right now. Let's turn off all the indicators, all the lines. This is a very, very important piece of information to consider when we're talking about what's going on in this market. So when we see this move right here, this is that same move that we're talking about. This felt like, oh my God, the parabola is starting. We had a 37% pump to the upside, followed almost immediately with a little consolidation, followed almost immediately by a 20% drop to the downside. And then the market really took off and got going. Look at that. It just completely does what we want to see. This is what everybody's waiting on. The slow move to the upside that just keeps accelerating. Yes, there was a little bit of consolidation. Yes, there was a little bit of a consolidation. Yes, there was a little bit of a pullback until ultimately we got that rounding top that ended this bull market cycle. So the point right now is you and us and me and everybody that's participating in this market, if we want to be a millionaire, if we are a millionaire and want to preserve our wealth, if we're trying to expand our wealth in this market, we need at minimum to realize there are price structures. There's a regularity, a repeating, a rhyming of trend behavior. In this case, we're talking about a bull trend. And make no lie to yourself, we are and have been absolutely in a bull trend, as we can see on this chart right here. This has just been going parabolic from this initial breakout back here in January 2023, over a year, basically a year and 4 months, a year and 5 months ago. Why do I say parabolic? Because if we look at this, it starts curving up and it starts getting steeper and steeper and steeper. Now, what does that mean about what's happening right now? Because we're talking about Bitcoin. We're talking about altcoins. We're talking about how do we really make that life-changing wealth? Well, we need to understand these market dynamics. And I've got some very key things to share with you right now. In this case, if you're watching this today, we're 1 day and about 9 hours, and this will adjust a little bit according to what's going on with how fast the block speeds are. But it's roughly about a little over 1 day until the halving. Even if you're watching this later, that's okay, because I have some great information for you about alts that you're going to want to see. So make sure you stay tuned. And if you like what you're seeing, if you want to join us in the family, we've been growing like a rocket, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button and ding the bell. And so when we're seeing what's going on in this market right now, Bitcoin is at about $1.2 billion, well, almost 1.25. I mean, it is 1.25. Ethereum, 370 billion. This is 1.25 trillion. I shouldn't say billion. Sorry about that. BNB about 82 billion. But what we're really paying attention to right now is this move. And I'm going to show you some key things that we need to pay attention to in regards to all these altcoins that we know can absolutely, or at least we hope, can absolutely change our life. This is what we're talking about. The halving right here and the behavior of the market post-halving. So let's see what really was going on. Let's see what this interaction with the rest of the market was around this Bitcoin halving. Because yes, Bitcoin, even if you don't hold Bitcoin, which I can't imagine why you wouldn't, even if you're looking for more explosive gains, you should have some Bitcoin in your portfolio. But even if you're only holding alts, you want to know what's going on with your alts. When alt season, this halving plays a major role in what our understanding is of this risk narrative. So if you're holding alts, if you're holding Bitcoin, hopefully you hold a bit of both. We want to pay attention to what's happening with this halving right here, because it's going to be a game changer as to what happens. When we look at Ethereum, this is where the Bitcoin halving was. And look, post-halving, we had a little consolidation here. And then we had a 2,235% gain following the halving up here into its all-time high. Does that mean I think we're going to get a 2,200% gain? No, it's likely going to diminish a little bit, but explosive gains are coming regardless, because we're so early in the adoption cycle of crypto. Not only we're so early in the adoption cycle of crypto. So we have the Bitcoin halving coming up. Maybe it's just past, depending on when you're watching this. But Bitcoin and altcoins are going to see explosive growth from this, because this changes the dynamic of that supply-demand dynamic within Bitcoin, but also drives the reflex. It also drives the reflexivity, the positive buying sentiment in this market, because cutting new supply in half has a positive effect on what demand does in this space, thus driving market prices higher over time. Not even considering all these new capital flows coming into the crypto space and the global awareness that's coming in. These altcoins have smaller market caps and are likely going to see some absolutely life-changing gains. So do not be shaken out right now. Look for opportunities to stack into your positions, because we can see, just like this is Ethereum, Bitcoin halving, but we see a huge explosion of growth here. And this is because Bitcoin is essentially the risk narrative bellwether, the risk narrative a signal for the crypto space. If Bitcoin is about to explode, then you can bet and put your money towards the likelihood of explosive growth in those smaller cap coins that are going to ride a little bit after that Bitcoin starts pushing to the upside. So let's stay positive. Let's look for opportunities right now. Right now is not a time to capitulate. Right now is time to find positions, to find levels that you can stack into the positions to lower your average entries or get that last bit stacked in so you can ride this up into Valhalla. If you like that, I hope you follow us for more and you join us here because I have so many signals to make sure we can keep you on the right side of the trend. So with that, let's go a little deeper. Now, coming back over here to Ethereum, let's look at what MATIC did. MATIC had, okay, here is the halving. What did MATIC do from this point? Let's do it. We can be a little conservative right there. Yes, we had a little bit of a dip after, but 13,461% growth from the last halving. We are not going to see that kind of growth in MATIC this time. I would sort of bet my dollars on it. That does not mean I don't think we're going to have explosive growth in MATIC. It means it's probably going to be a little less than this. This is, you know, it launched. It's much newer than, you know, for instance, when we look at Ethereum, Ethereum had, you know, quite a bit of history before this. When we look at MATIC, huge growth here. I still think we are going to have a multi-X, you know, somewhere between 7 to 12X. Maybe more than that, but I want to be a little more conservative than just shooting for a 20X target and holding on only to have it reverse and come back down. This is why we have to have strategy here. The halving is going to really drive a lot of positive buying reflexivity in this market. Once that consolidation period, if we do get a consolidation period around the halving, as I broke down yesterday, we've had in each cycle. If we come back over here, I want to come back here to halving cycle. I'm going to pull this up right here and just a note on this halving cycle. I just have to remind you here, this is something we need to be aware of. This right here, this was a halving. This is the last two cycles into this third cycle. Look at what happened post-halving. Whether we had a sell-off or a pump into it, it doesn't matter. What are we seeing post-halving? A lot of consolidation. This was the earliest one. This was 2013 right here, halving one. See this yellow line? This had a very short consolidation and then launched to the upside. We see the last halving, we had a bit more of a consolidation and then slowly started working our way up. And we're kind of on the same trajectory in the current, in the last halving that we went through, which is this purple line, halving three. Point being is we had a lot of sideways and a bit of chop, a bit of a fake out here before we ultimately really got that parabola. So when we're looking at the charts, we can see it here clearly on this altcoin. Halving happened, takes some time for the effect on demand to happen, and also a little bit of the concern about buy the rumor, sell the news, because this is one of the biggest news events every 210,000 blocks, which is about 4 years. This is the Bitcoin halving. Huge news. There is a potential for a sell-off, and if not, then the consolidation around the uncertainty, only for the bulls to take the lead and then launch to the upside. This is MATIC. What do we see with Cardano? Cardano, everybody says Cardano is a stable coin. It doesn't do, well, anybody that says that is blind and does not understand data. They're just mad it doesn't move in the moment they want it to move or they need it to move. If you need an asset to move, it means that you're overexposed in that asset, and also means that you don't have an appropriate timeline understanding for that investment or trade. We do not ever want to need an asset to move up or down. When you do look at the data, let the data inform us that this is a sound decision to invest in or trade, and then plan our course of action accordingly. Have our risk management in place. But if we need an asset to move one direction or another, we are going to be triggered emotionally, therefore making us hand over our hard-earned capital to somebody that has more money and more patience. So with that being said, let's hop back into this chart right here. Cardano moved from the halving 6,120%. That is a 6.1x. You telling me that's a stable coin? Absolutely not. And I've seen some yes, there was a FUD storm around Cardano in the last couple weeks. But I also saw a story this morning. Charles Hoskinson was basically being praised, and they're like, how the hell did you fit 1,600 different people's transactions into one block. There's a lot of misinformation about what transactions per second really means, especially when they're calculated in different ways. With Cardano, it has a different sort of technological structure that makes it look like maybe it's slower than Solana. Maybe no, it processes things different and actually does it in a way that's actually more effective. And once people start realizing the truth about some of the data, and it's not just Cardano, it's many of these different coins. And every single one of you, I'm calling you out right now. If you are tribal about your coin being better than another, you need to shut your mouth and likely not be in this space. We don't need that. I don't care what you invest in. If you like something, invest in it. It doesn't make because you bought something. Now you bought it and you're invested in it, but you actually have done no fundamental research on it. So now you think yours is better than somebody else. Let's stop on. We don't do trolling in this, especially on this channel. We want to encourage people to really invest their time in understanding the data and also having healthy strategies to navigate this space. So coming back over, Cardano, 6,120% to the upside. Boom. Long consolidation here. Breakdown here, a bit of a consolidation here, and nice move to the upside, a little bit of a rejection. Once this thing gets going, I think it's going to absolutely go parabolic. And we also have the halving coming up, but let's wait to see how these things play out. Let's be a little bit patient. But the point being is here, the halving doesn't just drive gains on Bitcoin. We also see NEAR. This was at least launched on Binance here, post halving, but even from this launch point where then it drops and then comes back, even from there to its top is a 992%. That's a 9x. Right? So let's be aware of that. And actually, I think I did the math wrong on this. This 6,120%. I think that is a 10x. That's a 61x. Yeah. So now, no, it's not. My math, I haven't eaten breakfast yet today. NEAR, 992% just from this point. If we do it actually from the bottom that it came down, that is a 658% move to the upside. Solana, this was launched post halving. Now these are important because what we're seeing here is that there is going to be opportunities brewing within the crypto ecosystem that, yes, absolutely, we need those bellwether large blue chip coins. And I've shared my crypto portfolio, my altcoin crypto portfolio. We started February 7th. Okay. We're down on some of them right now because the market just pulled a downturn, but this is a portfolio I've been taking positions on. I haven't been trading. I'm taking positions on. I've made some small moves and I've updated each and every one of you in the BitLab Discord, those premium channels, in the Kelly Alpha channel, but I'm holding positions on these. I'm not trading them. And so MATIC, I've been stacking into NEAR, Avalanche, Cardano, Chainlink, Injective, Celestia, Stacks, Render, the list goes on. The point here is a lot of these top coins, when we come over here onto the coin market cap rankings, many of these coins have been around, all of these have been around since somewhere roughly about where the last halving cycle was, or even the cycle before that, meaning they have some legacy built into them. Some of the biggest gainers in this cycle are going to be coins that have been launched recently or even have yet to be launched. Now, what does that bring up? What does that bring to mind immediately right now? That brings to mind to me the BRC20 narrative, tapping into an ecosystem that is the largest ecosystem out there, Bitcoin, and it's been untapped. Think about how big the DeFi layers are. Think about how big the DeFi layer is in the ecosystem on Ethereum, and that we're about to have a Bitcoin halving. And in addition to that Bitcoin halving, we have one of the biggest launches in history with a newly developed ecosystem that can ride on top of Bitcoin. Explore that DeFi opportunity, explore meme coins, explore Bitcoin layer 2s on the most trusted, most secure Bitcoin layer 1 out there. I mean, we're talking about coins that launched last cycle. Solana launched last cycle, roughly around when the halving was. Look at this, 7,714% gain. Avalanche, 16,408% gain. Some of the biggest coin performances, some of the biggest profits we're going to see in this cycle are going to be from coins that have only recently launched, and also coins that are about to launch, these ecosystems especially. And it's not only going to be BRC20, that narrative with the Bitcoin layer 2s, it's going to be many different things. But this is why it's so important that if you are going to ape into a project, you do it smart, and you also have a bit of a diversified portfolio so we can attack this market from all angles. And I'm so bullish. I'm so excited about all this, and I hope you are too. Let's continue on here. We also see Atom post-halving, 1,648%. Boom, halving. Look at that little consolidation. Now, how long was this? This is the daily. So this consolidation here with a bit of a W pattern was about, wow, 56 days. See, it doesn't look long when you look at it when it's all zoomed in, and then you put a time measurement and you see 56 days. That's almost 2 months. Yesterday, I broke down a video here sharing with all of you community members here on BitLab, letting you know we very well could have a choppy summer. And that feels scary. It feels boring. Most of the time in crypto, it is boring or frustrating. It's only if you prepare during those times that you can ride the huge gains to the upside. Look at this, 60 days. It went up, it came back down to the same spot, and then launched, came back and tested this level, and then even launched again, came back, tested it again, and then started making the true moves to the upside. And there's a lot of chop along the way. This is why it's important to have targets. We see Link post-halving, 1,294% to the upside. Look at that, sideways price action again. This is very important to understand that things aren't up only. Bitcoin halving is the Bitcoin halving is an absolutely huge catalyst for the space. Although the Bitcoin halving is about to happen or just happened, it's a huge bullish catalyst for the space. But some people think that means the halving is going to happen and the markets are just going to explode. If you zoom out on the macro, that is absolutely true. But we can see from the historical data in charts, whether it's Bitcoin or the altcoins that rally after the halving as well, there tends to be a period of a bit of consolidation, a bit of accumulation that could shake a lot of people out from 45 to 90 days after the halving, just chopping sideways, building that certainty, shaking out the sell the rumor news that a lot of people are somewhat worried about post-halving, ultimately to then see that parabolic move and rush to the upside. Now, in the moment, it doesn't feel like a rush, but when you zoom out on a chart, see right here, when we zoom in on this, that this feels like a forever consolidating sideways. But when we zoom out on the macro, very quick, this is Chainlink. When we zoom out on the macro, very quick, this does move to the upside. When we come back to Bitcoin, sideways price action, and then very quick, then it rockets to the upside. But this shakes out more people than you can imagine. Do not get shaken out because you're impatient. Look for opportunities to buy post-halving because life-changing wealth is coming if you can hold on to a strategy and get away from your emotions that are happening in that period of time. Now, man, I'm bullish today. I'm feeling good. I don't care. We're going to jump into some local charts here and break some things down in a moment, but we got to talk about a couple more things. Dogecoin. How many people came into this market through Dogecoin? How many people first purchase was Dogecoin? Let me know in the live chat right now. Let me know what you're thinking. I see all you people in here. George Martinez, I love AERO. Yes. Sam Gray, Alexander G. Shout out to Alexander G. Always doing all the time codes on the video. I really appreciate you. Also helping out in the Discord, and Alex Green as well. Gary Fowler, how are you doing? So many people here in this, and so many members. Want an easy way to help support this channel and keep us going? Become a member here. Just look right down below this video. If it doesn't say subscribed, subscribe. And you want to know something? I looked at some data on the BitLab YouTube. Only 7% of you all have your notifications turned on. It would be my honor if every single one of you looked right below the video on the bell, hit that bell, turn your notifications on so you know when we're going live. We're bringing more content to you here very shortly. And I want you all to know when that stuff's coming out. So turn on those notifications. If we can get that up to 7 to 15%, I will do a big giveaway next week. So everybody hit those notifications. Now, Dogecoin, this is one of those barometers. Gary Fowler says, my first was Doge. This is one of those barometers also of the very retail market. A lot of people come in. It's like the gateway drug. And they learn more about crypto and they start getting a lot of other stuff too. But this is, when it does move, it moves quickly because this is a lot of retail sentiment in Doge. But look at this also. Huge pump, sell off, wrecked everybody, and then true launch happened. We have to understand these things so we don't get caught in the shuffle. Now, what do we see here? Kind of sell off, whipsaw up, whipsaw down, consolidation. All right, so what do we got? We have coming into the halving is going to be only, in one day. Let's pay attention to what happens here. And then remember, Doge is also potentially tied in with the X payments when they launch X payments, which is supposed to happen likely sometimes this summer. And if that happens, that will likely be the catalyst that makes something like this possible. Do I think we're going to get a 27,420, 470% gain? I absolutely do not think that. I think it would be more likely, more manageable if we got, could do this option F from the top to the bottom. I would think it would be more manageable for us to actually come up here into this 1.618 at a maximum. Now, if we go beyond that, that would be incredible, but that's $1.21. Remember how huge the token supply is for Doge and how much it has inflated since the last cycle. Now, even if we got up to where we're at, here at the 50 cent mark, that would not be a small gain. That would already be 240% gain. Previous all-time high would be about a 4x. A 1.618 would be about a 6 to 7x. So let's trade accordingly with being excited, but also being a little conservative because these market caps are much larger than they were before. And we can't account for how fast this adoption is going to come in. HBAR, zooming out on this. So here's the halving. Look at this, consolidation sideways, sell off, and then launch. It's almost like the sell off is a spring, boom, launch, 1,433%. And a lot of these, you notice this structure here, consolidation, a lot of push up, chopping on the way up. We see also on Link, a push up, but this is more of a sell off there. Solana, this just ran away. Near, kind of, sell off, push up, sell off, push up. No, we come down to DOT. One of those newer coins as well, 1,264% gain to its, look at this, kind of a double top like we saw in Bitcoin. But look, see rounding and shake out here. I mean, some people felt like DOT ran away from them. And just so you know, everybody, I did a 30-minute video last night on DOT breaking down some really interesting things on DOT and why I feel like I made a huge error not putting it in my portfolio. And when I look at this chart right here and notice that this was running away, oh my God, we missed it. Now the price is back to the level that it was in January of this year, as well as all the way back here in April of 2023. So this is giving us another opportunity, and they have some absolutely incredible developments that they're working on to basically future-proof their scaling and integrate them as just such a broadly utilitarian crypto project in the space. So DOT's giving us that opportunity. We saw a huge gain last time, and when we come back over to DOT, for instance, and we look, boom, right here on Polkadot, and we come here to markets, charts. We look at the price on all. Come on. We look at the price on all. So here's just the actual price. Look how much room we have to grow to go up there. But if we look at market cap, this is great. This means there hasn't been an inordinate amount of inflation that's going to make it hard to reach previous all-time high. This is incredible. And they have some token burn things. They have a lot of that. I break it all down in that video. But you know what? A lot of good things happening. So where are we at today? What's going on in the week of the Bitcoin halving? How do we look forward to what's happening? So crypto markets have been a boost, have seen a boost today. Bitcoin has jumped back to 63.8 with just over 36 hours to the Bitcoin halving. The crowd has maintained a constantly bearish sentiment towards top caps, which strengthens the argument for rising. Do you understand what this just said? This is calling out all of us that are trading emotionally. It's saying, hey, if it's bearish, then you're wrong. It's about to move to the upside. This is typically what happens. This is why when we come back over here to, is it Velo? Elo chart, yeah, right here. Let's see if it's still saved or if I have to pull it up. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about. This negative premium, this is an indication that shows when the majority of people are going short. If it's a negative premium, that means it costs money to short. So this is, hey, let's get everybody to short. Boom, it goes up. Now, same thing's happening. It's getting everybody to short. Are we setting up for a bounce or a sell-off? Well, let's look at some of those signals. Everybody's, it's talking about everybody going bearish, gives us fuel for potential upside. Why is that? Because short squeezes can move price very quickly to the upside. Everybody, if you're watching right now, it would be my honor if you would just pat yourself on the back for being in this crypto ecosystem before the majority of the world. Remember to congratulate yourself for being such a forward thinker. Now let's make sure we can maintain our ability to profit in this market. That's what this is about. Now, are we setting up for potential upside? What are the miners doing? Miners reduced selling pressure ahead of halving. This is good. On average, over the last month, around 374 Bitcoin were sent daily, 374 per day to spot exchanges, a value well below the 1,388 registered in February. So the miners are kind of pulling back on their selling pressure. This is good. This is positive. This is what we want to see. This is what we're seeing down here. This is when the selling pressure was getting high, and now maybe they're done selling. I don't know. But either way, reductions in selling pressure while also increasing demand is a recipe for absolute success. Doesn't mean it's only going to go up. I talked about this a little bit yesterday. We have to pay attention to this. So, Stock Money Literate says, as promised, we're now providing detailed, unbiased analysis as blah, blah, blah. A lot of people are confused right now. World War III, we're going to go to zero. But the halving, we're going to go to the moon. New all-time high usually means rally. But interest rate hikes, zero. There's confusing things in markets, and it's not just Bitcoin. It's the traditional asset space as well. Bitcoin was rallying while we're seeing weird things going on with the treasuries. Nothing's really lining up with historical because everything is new and different. And we can look at historical trends, but we also need to realize that the markets just need to do their work. And right now, there is a possibility that we do get a washout to the downside. And we talked about it yesterday. So let's not freak out if that happens. Let's say, ooh, I got my limit orders, my limit buy orders already set. So even if it happens quickly, you can take advantage of the market. Even if you don't take action, even if you don't do anything, but sit on your hands and have a calm comfort and knowing, having confidence that it is a shakeout, then it's good. Now, everybody, you have to make your own decisions. This is not financial advice. I'm looking at the historic trends of what's going on with the market, the fact that we have increased demand just exponentially coming in and new capital roads, all the while coming into a point in time that has always signaled the most bullish part of the market cycle to come. So if a washout happens now, great. Doesn't bother me. So should not bother you. Now, when we're looking at the capital flow, where does that fuel for runs come from? Capital flow into this asset space. Now we can see the bottom here. We can see the bottom here. We can see the bottom here. Let's look what happened with the capital flows. Negative capital flows. Still some hope here, and it oscillates all the way down till we get to the bottom where we actually have negative flow, meaning money coming out of market. Now, once it starts to tick up, it pushes up, taps back down, pushes up, taps back down to a little bit zero. And then at the halving, then it still comes back and taps each time. So what are we seeing right here on this cycle? We also saw it right here at this halving. See this huge outflow. This was a COVID crisis, but then huge capital spike, come back to test. Capital spike, come back to test. So same things happen here. Bottom, we're coming into the halving. Look, we're getting that run up. What we get here, run up, back and tap. What do we get here? Run up, back, and it didn't quite tap, but similar. Run up, and we're not quite tapping down there, but we are, think of it as a reset. You're stretching out the rubber band. Okay, you're letting it you don't want to rip the rubber band. It comes back. And then same sort of thing. You're putting fuel in the car. You're having fuel coming into the car. You're having this shakeout, testing of resolve, shaking out the weak hands, the last bit of weak hands there until you ultimately really start ripping to the upside. It doesn't mean we can't have that further move still yet to the downside. We still have that short-term holder cost basis we need to pay attention to. We still need to pay attention to likely chopping sideways. It doesn't just mean halving happens. We have 2 or 3 days and then it just rockets. That could absolutely happen, but I'm not planning on it. I'm ready for whatever happens, but I know ultimately within the next 3 months, we were going to see very strong movements to the upside. So that gives me resolve in the short term, realizing if this is what usually happens, then I'm not going to be bothered if in 40 days we're still chopping around the same range. We have to be aware of that. Now we see the number of addresses with over 1,000 Bitcoin. Had a little bit of a dip here, but starting to rise back up. Bitcoin wallets with over 1,000 Bitcoin in them do not typically add at tops. So this is a bullish signal. And we can see right here, we see the percent balance on exchange. This is, I'm sure you've seen this in other channels, but I want to point something out. Look at what's happening here. Market rallying. This was going up. Now, why would this be going up? This going up is because as the price rallies, people move coins onto exchange to sell. But it's interesting that things went so high here, and we've seen a steady decline from this point forward. And I've shown this to you all before. If we come back over here and we look at available supply, there was a seismic shift in the way Bitcoin was acting from the third halving to where we're at now. We had available supply increasing through all of this because we had 19 million Bitcoin mined and created from its inception until roughly about here, the third halving. Now, from this point, for the next 130 years or some odd, till the last Bitcoin is projected to be mined, in that last 100+ years, only 2 million are going to be mined. So there was a huge flood, and these halvings have reduced the new supply that have been mined every block, right? And it was 50, then 12.5, and then 6.25. Now this halving is going to represent 3.125 Bitcoin per block every 10 minutes, right? So we're at 900 Bitcoin a day. It's going to be cut to 450. We're starting to see the effect in the available supply. So when we're looking at a chart like this and the Bitcoin available on exchange is diminishing, it's partially because we have ETFs out there buying a lot. It's also partially because we had a huge number of catastrophic failures in the crypto ecosystem last cycle with FTX and Celsius and Voyager and BlockFi, right? It made people realize, yes, it shook people out, but it made people realize, oh, I need to hold this in my cold storage. So we have a reduction in new supply, the Bitcoin halving that happens every 4 years, and we have a seismic shift in people's understanding of this space. And now a true belief is growing in the future of where this asset space is going, giving people resolve to hold it on cold storage and also a trust in the future that this is a hedge against the world. And so we're seeing a reduction in supply on the exchanges. And if you don't have coins on exchange, it's very much less likely that those coins are going to be traded, giving strength to demand. This is what I'm talking about. We're setting up for the perfect storm right now. We might have some choppy times, and I hope we do. But if you have the resolve, crypto millionaires, people that will become crypto millionaires, many of you, unfortunately, sometimes some of you are going to lose everything, and that's just the truth. It's all going to come down to what's your resolve in this space, what's your goal, and are you practicing steps to get towards your goal by not being triggered by emotions in this market when we're seeing some of the most bullish data we've ever seen in this space. All right, now here we have the realized profit to loss ratio. This is similar to what we were seeing with this capital flow. When we're looking at the realized profit to loss ratio, we see on these bull market upticks, this is when people are basically moving coins in profit. This is when they're moving coins at a loss. So do you want to be the person that moves a coin at a loss right here before absolute moonshot happens? Look at the bigger picture. Look at the macro so you don't act like an idiot in this space, only be like, oh my God, what the hell did I do? 4 months later when you would have been $1.5 million worth of Bitcoin, but no, you sold it at a loss and lost 20,000 of your capital. You see what I mean? Looking at these cycles, I'm not selling here. I'm buying in these zones. I'm selling in these zones. Now, in this case, look, we're doing what we've needed to do. We saw it in the last cycle, huge uptick, sell off. And then even from this point forward, this is where the halving happened. But look, Profitability comes down to loss. Profitability comes down to loss, and then it really launches. So we're kind of doing the same work. Profitability comes down almost to loss. Super profitability comes down, washes people out. Are you selling here? To me, this is a buy signal. To me, this is if you are bullish on this market for 2024, every single one of you, we have 240 people in the room, and I love and appreciate each and every one of you for being here in BitLab Academy with our, this is the most positive, encouraging space, I think, in the crypto ecosystem. And I love each and every one of you for it. If you are bullish, drop a bullish emoji. If you're a member, drop those bull emojis, drop something fun. If you're not a member here on the channel, just say I'm bullish as a MFR. If you're not, say I'm a confused pirate. Now, here we go. We got a couple more things. We got some charts. And I do want to shout out, by the way, Arculus, channel sponsor, partners here. If you are trading this, and we're talking about making a lot of money in this space, we need to make sure that we can protect the capital that we have. And my personal favorite wallet, and I'm not just saying this because they're a channel sponsor, I actually love Arculus. It's one tap. It's essentially like a credit card you put in your wallet. The same people, the individual that developed this, CompuSecure, and the specific person, Adam Lowe, I believe, Dr. Adam Lowe, I believe his name is. He's the same person that developed this technology and all those cards that you have, Amex, all this tap. It's never been breached, and essentially what it is, it's an incredible hardware, cold wallet for all your crypto. Very easy to use, and it's very secure because let's come back. Where'd it go? It's very secure because it has 3 different things: a biometric lock, which is something your face or fingerprint, a numeric pin, as well as the card itself. You need all 3 things to secure this. And if you lose a card, doesn't matter. Nobody can take your crypto because they don't have the other two parameters to get into it. You just go and just like any wallet, you put in your seed phrases and everything, and then you can reload your wallet onto a new card. My favorite thing, you can use DC20 at checkout when you're coming in here and you can click on the pinned comment at the very top of the live chat. It's getarculus.com/checkout. Click right here, coupon and gift certificates. Boom, type in DC20, you get 20% off. And it's my favorite crypto wallet out there. So shout out to Arculus, channel sponsor. Now coming back over, we got a couple things before we wrap out. Okay, we're talking about that balance on exchange, but we're also talking about the behavior of people before big sell-offs. What's happening here? People are still moving off of exchange. Does this indicate likelihood of people wanting to sell? No, this indicates strength coming into the market. How do we know that? I mean, look at this FTX sell-off. Yes, we had a drop here, but look at this huge drop here, provided a base, lack of people able to sell, and then boom, to the upside. Of course, there's other things at play here, but this is one of those great indications of what's going on. I did such a good polka dot video last night. I can't wait to share it with you all. So let's go ahead and wrap this out with a little bit of TA here and where we're going and what's going on. And again, shout out to everybody that is here watching. Look at all these positive emojis. Got my face on there, the bull, got the rocket, got the Mr. Muchacho. I love you guys. It's funny when we're talking about bullish things. This is why you never see the Gary Gensler emoji we have when we're talking about bullish, because he's the most bearish thing in the space. Yeah. So shout out to everybody. Ruzba, I've been seeing a lot of the charts you've been posting on Twitter. Keep it up, my friend. Granny's Garden in here. Sawtooth Hiker. We got the whole family. Objectively, real reality. Objectively. Shout out. Have I missed any super chats or anything? Let me just flip over there. No, I did not. Okay. So let's continue on. Let's look at what's going on here. Zooming in. Zooming in here, this is that magic area we're watching, that short-term holder cost basis. And we've talked about this a lot on this channel. I'm not going to pull up those charts right now, but just know it's about 59,000. This is an important level that regularly gets retested, not 59,000 specifically, but the short-term holder cost basis gets tested regularly in this market. I believe, let me actually come over here and come to Forum A, turn this on, 128. Boom. Let's turn this little cheat code here. 1, 2. So turn that. Boom, boom, boom. Yellow. Make it very bright. No, it's changed now. It's good. It used to be a pretty good track. The 128-day moving average, simple moving average, used to track pretty close to the short-term holder cost basis. I wonder if we put it down to 120. Still fairly close. But essentially what we're looking at is a short-term holder cost basis, which is right here, short-term holder cost basis. This level right here, which regularly gets tested in bull markets. We can see this. See this? This is when we're below. This is when we get above, and we just test it. Boom, 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 all the way up. Once we go below, boom, 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 rejection all the way down. Boom, 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 all the way up. And we're kind of coming into that same thing. Everybody's so worried, and we're doing normal things. We did get a deviation below. I'm not going to be worried if we get a deviation again, because there's so much riding on this bull market that I think there's going to be a lot of games that are shaking people out. Now, we still have positive money flow on the daily. It is somewhat arcing to the downside, but we've seen this before. Look, arcing to the downside, bounce, this money flow right here, bounce, and then we still had a huge move to the upside. So there's still very bullish structures in play. We're basically just ranging here, and we have tested below. We're coming up into a level that I marked out yesterday, and I marked it out on a couple different altcoins, and that is this level. Let's turn off the 4MA here, turn on this. There we go. And what we can see here is a price action. This is that level. I marked this out yesterday when price was down over here somewhere, and this is a weekly VWAP, and we're coming up into it. Just like I wasn't saying it was going to reject or not. I'm saying this is an area of interest that if we cannot clear this, even with this pump, we start getting so excited. But if we can't clear this key metric, the weekly VWAP, is very good at helping define what sort of narrative you're in, bullish or bearish. Once you lose it, see this comes up, rejects, comes up, rejects. And this was a fake out. So we need to pay attention to this. If we get rejected here, we're likely going to come down, test it again, and potentially come down and sweep down into that short-term holder cost basis. If we can get through this, then the next level up we're watching is 65,000, 65.5. Potential comeback to test and then continue. But what we're seeing right now is the start of something, but it doesn't quite define what's happening yet because we have a bullish engulfing candle here. And then we have a smaller candle here. So there's a little questionability about this move unless this candle can close higher. And if we do get a move down, we want the next move down to hold above this weekly VWAP. But essentially these are the levels we're watching. This zone that we're in right here, this 65.5, 65.8, and then ultimately, you know, if we can break through this level, but we have a lot of work to do where we're at right now. This is a highly contested area because the uncertainty and because the big institutions want to shake you out of your capital. Yes, they want the market to go up, but they also, knowing how they can institutions and smart money has a lot more deeper pockets and stronger conviction than you do. And knowing the underlying data of Bitcoin and the likelihood of its path forward over the next 100 years, why would they not, what would prevent them from wanting to send price and capitulate people to send price lower to get a lower price to ride that long-term bet with the best price possible? That's what you have to understand. They're in it to make money just like you are. If we lose this level, the next level down we're looking for is this $52,900, $53,000 zone, which is this next zone right here. We also see it on this chart right here, which is outlined by not only this level here. So this is that short-term holder cost basis. If we lose that, coming down into this channel that we've had prior as both support and resistance right in here. This is kind of where I think, on a very bullish sense, even though this is a deviation below the short-term holder cost basis, this would be where on my very bullishness, this is where I would start to get concerned if we lost this level and came lower. So these are those levels that I'm watching. Ethereum, it is just doing the work of giving you better and better opportunity. Now, remember, there's a little bit of narrative that's lost wind on Ethereum because the strong likelihood that the ETH ETF is not going to get passed. Does that mean it's not going to perform well this cycle? No, I think it'll still perform well, but some of that very positive excitement because of the potential ETF We'll have to see how priced in that is on this bit of a pullback, because we have bounce, 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 came up, rejected, came down. We're currently forming something somewhat bullish here, but it's also a bit of a bear flag. But we're forming a potential bottom here as this is rounding out. But again, what are we looking for? We're looking for this weekly VWAP break. It's almost like the gatekeeper. Look at this, Polygon. That weekly VWAP right here at 70, a little over 70 cents. So we're watching this zone here. If we push up into the zone and get rejected, because you see the fake out here, and look, see, it doesn't bounce. It loses through it. So that's why I don't have it directly on the weekly VWAP. Watch for a potential fake out, consolidation, then continuation. We can also see this on Avalanche. Same thing. Weekly VWAP. It's like it's the threshold of defining those trends back and forth between the bullish spread and the bearish spread. Near broke through the weekly VWAP. Broke through, came down, kind of lost it, but then came right back up above, found support on it, and then launched through. So this is what I'm talking about. You see, it does break through the weekly VWAP, this yellow line, and it does find some support, but then it comes up and has a lower high, loses it, traps people that don't understand what their time horizon is, and then as soon as it loses it, commits people short, launches right back through, finds support on it with a little bit of a washout, finds support again, and then because it's like, oh, the bulls are in charge. Okay, now we're playing a positive spread, then boom, it's pushing to the upside. So we're seeing a lot of wonderful things in the market right now. And in fact, ONDO still holding up relatively strongly in the face of everything that's happened. Aerodrome, which I've taken profit on 3 times, is coming down into pretty great zones. And now look, also being held at that weekly VWAP. So is the negative spread still in play where this is going to go lower? This is starting to look like a bottom here. We have 3 bullish divergences here on the BitLab trading stack. And then right after that, boom, move up. Let's see what happens at this area. I do think in the next, it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I wouldn't be surprised if we had a speculative pump. Wouldn't be surprised if we had a speculatively driven pump through the weekend on the retail side, because the halving has happened, only to then create a gap lower on the CME futures that actually brings the price back down, and potentially a bit of a washout that happens between this weekend and the beginning half of next week. So there's no telling what's going to happen. Let's stay prepared. The most bullish time in history is right before our eyes. Let's not make this up. Let's look for those buying opportunities. I love each and every one of you. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. And every single one of you, also shout out to Arculus, channel sponsor. Check them out at getarculus.com. Use DC20 for 20% off to get the best cold wallet out there. Big shout out to the Guardian there that we got. So big love to them. And make sure you look down below this video right now. And if it does not say subscribed, hit that subscription button. And then also in addition to that, I just want to show you, in addition to that, make sure you ding the bell, subscribe and ding the bell so you get notified when we're going live. I love you guys. I appreciate you all. Hope you have an absolutely wonderful day. It's Thursday. Let's be joyous. Let's put a smile on somebody's face. Let's communicate to our friends and loved ones. Let's navigate life well. That's all I want. I love you guys. Adios. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Thank you for always tuning in. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for being here. I love each and every one of you again and again. Hit that like button, sucker.